Hey everybody, Nate Carter here with today's Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. I mentioned on a previous devotional that I'm an Enneagram 1, and those are the kinds of people that have a real strong sense of right and wrong. And it's not necessarily that we're right about what's right and wrong, but we think we are. So we think we know what's right and wrong, and we tend to be kind of judgmental people a lot of times. And so as a result of that, that kind of filters how you see the world. And so I'm one of those people that, I feel like if someone has wronged me, or I sense that they've wronged me, that I have the right to retaliate, or I have the right to punish them for that. And I was thinking about that characteristic as I was reading from Matthew 18 the other day. And I'm going to read this parable of Jesus to you in its entirety. You've heard it before, but it's a wonderful reminder to me, and then we'll talk about it for a moment after. Matthew 18, verse 23. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a king who decided to bring his accounts up to date with servants who had borrowed money from him. In the process, one of his debtors was brought in who owed him millions of dollars. He couldn't pay, so his master ordered that he be sold, along with his wife, his children, and everything he owned, to pay the debt. And just to pause right there, that's justice, right? That's a just response from the king. That this debtor owed him money he couldn't pay, so the debtor would have to pay in other ways. But the man fell down before his master and begged him, "Please be patient with me, and I will pay it all." Then his master was filled with pity for him, and he released him and forgave his debt. But when the man left the king, he went to a fellow servant who owed him just a few $1,000s. He grabbed him by the throat and demanded instant payment. His fellow servant fell down before him and begged for a little more time. "Be patient with me and I will pay it," he pleaded. But his creditor wouldn't wait. He had the man arrested and put in prison until the debt could be paid in full. Okay, once again, that would be justice, right? Verse 31. Once, when some of the other servants saw this, they were very upset. They went to the king and told him everything that had happened. Then the king called in the man he had forgiven and said, "You evil servant, I forgave you that tremendous debt because you pleaded with me. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servant, just as I had mercy on you?" Then the angry king sent the man to prison to be tortured until he had paid his entire debt. That's what my heavenly Father will do to you if you refuse to forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. So as I think about this, I think about when someone wrongs me or sins against me. My reaction is to want to hold them to task for that, for them to feel the pain of doing something that has wronged me, and that feels just to me. But as I got to thinking about this, I realized there's a higher level of justice here. And that's the fact that I have been forgiven a tremendous debt, something that I couldn't possibly ever repay. It's the debt of my own sin, that I've sinned against the Father. I've sinned against God, the Creator, the Holy God. And I never could stand a chance to pay that back. And so since I have been forgiven by God through Jesus Christ, why wouldn't I forgive those who sin against me? In other words, it's not just for me to hold someone in unforgiveness, or to demand punishment from someone who has wronged me, when I have been forgiven such a great debt. So maybe this is my Enneagram mind working, my Enneagram 1 mind, but the greater justice is not that I should hold someone to account for their sin against me, but rather, since I have been so greatly forgiven, it is only just that I would forgive anyone who sins against me. Now, going beyond that, forgiveness releases us of the burden too. It allows us to release that person from the sin that they've committed against you. And in the process, it releases us from holding this grudge against someone as well. So forgiveness is also a gift that we give ourselves. Today, as you have the opportunity, and I'm sure you will, I encourage you to forgive those who have sinned against you, just as you have been so greatly forgiven by God. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.